In Pro Tools, regions are defined as sections or chunks of audio and MIDI. Let's take a look at some of the ways Pro Tools handles these regions and how we can manipulate them. Looking at our session, you can see that all of the content in our audio and MIDI tracks are long continuous files. This is how these tracks were recorded or imported in, and they have not been edited. Each track contains one single region. Over in the region bin, we can see all the files that make up the session. Each of these regions are the original files that were recorded and are called the parent files. Let's cut this kick region in half by separating it. Now we've effectively split the original region into two distinct regions. Looking over in the regions list, we can now see the new regions. We can still see the original parent audio region called Kick, but we can also see the newly created regions called Kick 01 and Kick 02. Pro Tools creates new regions, so we can always go back to the original if need be. Another way to create a new region is to use the capture function. This allows us to create a new region based on a selection. Select a portion of any region that you wish to capture using the selector tool. Next, go to the region menu and select Capture, or use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl or Command R. A window will pop up asking us to give the new region a name. Enter a name here and hit OK. Notice that the original region wasn't split. A new region was placed in the region list that we can use in our session at any time. This is a great way to create regions without disrupting the original. If you do want to separate the region from the original, you can do so using the Grab tool. Create another selection. Now by clicking and holding on the Grab tool, choose the Separation tool. Click and drag the selected area to a new location. We can also copy the selection instead of moving it by holding down Alt or Option, leaving the original region intact. There are a couple more ways to separate regions. First, select a region. Let's use this collapse region here. Go to the Edit menu, Separate Region, and select On Grid. A box comes up asking for a pre-separate amount. This allows us to make separations slightly before the grid lines. Leave this set to 0 and press OK. Doing this will separate the selected region based on the grid setting up here. It's currently set to quarter note, so a new region was created at every quarter note. Another way to separate a region is to separate it on its transients. This is an excellent way to divide up a drum loop or drum track into individual regions containing each individual hit. Select the hi-hat region. Now go to the Edit menu, Separate Region, and select At Transients. This time, the pre-separate amount determines the shortest length that the region will be separated into. Let's leave it set to 0. Every transient or hit that Pro Tools could detect was separated into a new region. Now we can mix all of these regions up and create a completely different hi-hat part. This feature is great for remixing. Now let's talk about region overlap. Right now, when we drag one region over top of another one, the region that's getting dragged over top of gets hidden. If you received this project from someone else, you'd have no way to know that one region is on top of another one. To remedy this, we can choose to show them overlapping instead. Go to the View menu, Region, and select Overlap. Now we see this little dog here to let us know that these regions are overlapped. We can also choose to move the overlapping region to the back or bring it to the front. This can be done by selecting the region, going to the Region menu, and selecting Send to Back or Bring to Front. By default, inside of each region, we can see the region name. But there's more information that we can display here. Go to the View menu, Region. There are a bunch of options here: sync point, processing state, name, channel name, scene and take, rating, overlap, current time, original timestamp, user timestamp, and no time. The options at the top can all be viewed at the same time, but we can only select one of these 4 bottom options at a time. MIDI tracks can also show all of this information. Click on the track view selector on the MIDI track and select Regions. Now we can see the MIDI data residing in that track as a region. We are also able to see all the time and naming information that is visible in our audio regions. MIDI regions can be edited and modified in the same way that audio regions can. With all this region cutting and splicing, the regions list over on the right is getting pretty long. Thanks to some great organizational tools found in the Regions List pop-up, we can change the way the regions are organized to make it easier to use. Click on the Regions List pop-up. This menu is full of tools to help aid in organizing and changing audio and MIDI regions. Starting at the top, we have the Find function. Select it. We can type the name of a region we want to find in the field here. Type Toms. Pro Tools will search the regions list and find all of the regions whose name matches the words we entered, leaving all other names hidden. Checking Include Subsequently Added Regions will filter the display of region names to show only those regions added to the session since the last time the find command was used. A plus sign appears at the top of the regions list to indicate that this option is selected. We can also click this button to view a list of recent searches. We can use this to go back to a certain search without having to type it in again. Hit OK. To view all of the regions again, just select Clear Find from the Regions List menu. Move ahead to the next chapter to finish up our look at working with regions in Pro Tools.